Hi, my name is Susan Chambre, and today I'll be presenting about pre-service teachers' dyslexia concept knowledge and their knowledge sources. Dyslexia is a specific learning disability. It's neurologically based, and it results in inaccurate or disfluent word reading, difficulties with spelling, difficulties with writing, rapid automatized naming, and phonological processing. It is the most prevalent form of learning disability in the United States amongst school children, and it does have negative social emotional consequences such as anxiety and depression. Alarmingly, students of color are less likely than their peers to be diagnosed with dyslexia, often being diagnosed with behavioral disabilities. Now, there are numerous misconceptions about dyslexia, and these are referred to as neuromyths, which is a misunderstanding about brain functioning and learning, which results in the Peter effect, where one cannot teach what one does not know. Now, many PSTs, pre-service teachers, and ISTs, in-service teachers, have these persistent misconceptions, such as dyslexia can't be diagnosed until third grade, or that it results in reading comprehension difficulties. Now, the most persistent of those misconceptions is visually based ones, such as dyslexia results in flipped or backwards letters when reading, or words are dancing around the page. And these misconceptions interfere with service provision, delaying access to appropriate interventions, and most of all, ineffective interventions, such as things like colored overlays or vision therapy. Not going to help kids with dyslexia. So the research questions guiding this presentation is what is pre-service teachers knowledge accuracy? What are their knowledge sources? And are there connections between these knowledge sources and knowledge accuracy on a survey? We collected data from 4 semesters of students with over 200 participants, and it was a researcher created. I created a series of online questions, dyslexia modules, and answered questions about dyslexia. I'll show them in a minute. We then qualitatively examined them through a priori coding of based on international dyslexia fact sheets and thematic analysis of the students' responses for their knowledge sources. And quantitatively, we looked at general mean accuracy as well as Pearson correlations between the knowledge sources and the knowledge accuracy. These are the module questions. You could take a look if you want to pause the presentation, looking at things like characteristics or screening and diagnosis. Our demographic data shows that majority of our participants were white females and did not disclose having a disability. So for research question 1, knowledge accuracy, we see a wider range of scores, particularly on the lower end, questions 3, 5, and 7. 3 is characteristics, 5 is how widespread dyslexia is, and 7 is how do we screen for dyslexia. Those are topics our pre-service teachers really knew less about. Our results for knowledge sources indicate that most people, about 30%, identified coursework, college coursework, like I took a class, or other P12 experiences, like elementary school, middle school, high school experiences. About half our respondents either gave no response or gave information that wasn't related to the knowledge source. And then our kind of secondary level sources were media, friends, family, and just general knowledge. Like I just knew it. Now we want to see the connections between these knowledge sources and the knowledge accuracy. And this is where things get really interesting. Here are our questions, and here are the knowledge sources. And the heat map kind of shows that there's positive correlations between coursework and accurate knowledge, but negative correlations, some of them significant, between media and inaccurate knowledge. So what we're really finding here is that people who took college courses are having it's positively impacting their knowledge about dyslexia. Some of them are they're a little bit on the weaker side, but there are some significant correlations there. But on the converse is that when people are getting the answers wrong, most of them are citing popular media, particularly 3 sources: Bella Thorne Disney commercial, where she talks about dyslexia, the Percy Jackson movie, or the George Lopez show. So there's some limitations to this research, such as sample size, self-reported knowledge sources, limited sources impacting statistical power. Some future research will look at in-service teachers, teacher faculty, those educating the teachers, and clinical teaching supervisors. And more importantly, we really want to start to dig into that media. What is happening in the media? What are these knowledge sources showing dyslexia as? And if we can start to use those as a way of critically analyzing the media for pre-service teachers, those who cite using media can start to say, hey, wait a minute, let's take a look at these sources. Maybe they're giving me inaccurate information. So in conclusion, we have a wide variety of knowledge source accuracy, varies greatly. We also have a whole bunch of different sources, but really specifically college coursework and media. but many don't provide a source at all. We want to think about how teacher preparation, people like me working in the College of Ed, can explicitly counter these misconceptions, particularly with media. And that's where that critical media piece as the next step is going to come in. Because addressing misconceptions can start to think of how do we help students of color who are overrepresented as having emotional disabilities and underrepresented having dyslexia receive the resources that they need. And this can help hopefully reverse deficit narratives and look at dyslexia as an asset-based practices and attitudes. I would like to thank special thanks to Brianna Marin, my Kean University graduate research assistant, for all her support on this project with coding and other areas. So thank you so much for attending, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Research Days.